Hello everyone, this is James Bullock here with another Video Gamers Experience review, this time Astro Bot, exclusively for the PlayStation 5. Astro Bot is the first non-subtitled game in the franchise that hosts 3 games up to this point. You had Astro Bot Rescue Mission, which was a PS4 VR game, followed by the PlayStation 5 tech demo Astro's Playroom. From a narrative perspective, the game is very straightforward. Astro and its band of merry bots are flying through the galaxy when they're attacked by a space bully named Nebulax. And Nebulax is not only a gigantic monster, but also a troll who loves to taunt and abuse the bots, and eventually the components of the ship itself that is ironically enough shaped like a disc version of the original PlayStation 5. Ironic because of the announcement of the PlayStation 5 Pro that will have no disc drive. But that's neither here nor there, because what is here is Astro Bot from a gameplay perspective. And the game sticks to what we came to know and eventually love with the previous Astro Bot games. Astro has the ability to punch, jump. If you hold down the jump button, it hovers and creates lasers underneath its feet that can burn certain enemies, including the electrified enemies that you cannot touch with a punch to stop them. You can also hold down the punch button to perform a charge spinning attack. Now, not only does Astro have to go and get those component parts to rebuild the PlayStation 5 ship, it also has to find the various bots that have been lost because of the ship's destruction. And this leads to Astro landing on a hub called the crashed site, which when found, the bots will converge to this site and eventually start rebuilding not only the ship but the site itself, leading to a hub area where you have not only these interactions with the various bots that are majorly shaped and featured as PlayStation branded characters or just general video game characters throughout the history of not only gaming but PlayStation's existence. But you get little mini puzzles here and there and a gacha system where you can unlock different outfits for Astro, different controller skins for the much smaller DualSense shaped controller that Astro utilizes to go onto every planet. Beyond the exquisite platforming sections and the various level designs, what really makes Astro Bot unique from an experience when it comes to gameplay and when it comes to platforming is the fact during certain sections you get particular abilities associated with backpacks, essentially. These backpack add-ons allow for Astro in that level to, say, have a dog that propels him forward, that can knock down enemies or even bust up walls, or stop time, or turn into an inflatable balloon. It is through these abilities that really adds to not only the gameplay but the variety that comes with the platforming in Astro Bot across the various levels that reach almost the triple digits, including certain challenge levels. There are 7 galaxies, with 6 of them being attached to the main story and the 7th being the Lost Galaxy, essentially being secret levels that you can attain by finding secret passages during various main story levels. One of the best things about the player friendliness of Astro is the fact that it does let you know how many bots are on the world, how many you found, how many puzzle pieces are on the world, how many you found, and if there is a portal to a Lost Galaxy world on that stage. And in regards to the stages themselves, it's pretty straightforward from point A to point B from beginning to end. But to find those bots, to find those puzzle pieces, to find those special world portals, you will have to go beyond what is the linear path. Sometimes it's very obvious, sometimes it's not. It's easy to go past them sometimes, and sometimes it's very easy just to walk right into it. But you will have to be focused and attentive to your surroundings at almost all times to find all of the bots, all of the puzzle pieces, and the portals, if there are portals on that world. One of the more interesting aspects after you defeat the boss of each galaxy world is the revelation that that world houses a particular PlayStation or video game branded character. Say Nathan Drake from the Uncharted series, God of War's Kratos from the God of War 2018 version and beyond, where the next stage where they allow you to have their weapon of choice. Nathan has a gun, Aloy from Horizon Zero Dawn fame has an arrow, and of course Kratos has his axe, that when thrown freezes enemies. And it's through these stages that you really get a feel of just how quirky the game could be, if not for some design choices. Because as mentioned, when it comes to the special abilities, when it comes to the backpacks, it is solely associated with those levels in the same way that being Kratos for a day is solely associated with that particular level called Bots of War. Even though the stages are very straightforward from point A to point B from beginning to end, Astro isn't the most invulnerable character, which is a plus because the game is relatively easy if you're just playing the main missions, if you're just playing the story-based missions and worlds. Astro can't take only one hit outside of boss battles, where it's given 2 hearts, so you can be hit 3 times before you die. Traversing the regular worlds and the non-boss battles, 1 hit will kill Astro, and that includes even the sub-bosses. Now, for as fun and adventurous and rewarding as Astro Bot can be from a base perspective, there is something that may make the players feel overwhelmed and to a certain extent disappointed and frustrated, especially if they're trying to get that platinum trophy. And that is the void-based challenge levels that are all symbolized by the face buttons associated with the PlayStation's controller. And that is the triangle, square, cross, and circle. And these challenge levels are easily some of the most demanding levels of the entire game. They have no checkpoints and will test your merit and your skill beyond whatever has been seen thus far in the game, depending on when you take these challenges on. There are some of these challenge levels that are rooted in RNG. There are some of these challenge levels that are rooted in bad hitboxes, bad platforming, bad camera work, but they are beatable. And that also comes with some of the negatives in regards to Astro Bot. As quirky and as fun and as exhilarating as Astro Bot can be from beginning to end, there's not much to pull a player back in after they finished it. For me, it took a little under 20 hours to do everything, 100% completion, all the levels, all the worlds, all the challenges, platinum trophy. And for many gamers, that will be it. They will never really touch Astro Bot again, because there's nothing to warrant you to come back to play Astro Bot again as of this time, not long after the release. There's a chance, of course, they can add things with future updates like time trials and the like, but still, as a base game, after you've put your time in, after you've done the 100% completion, which can be done relatively quickly, probably a lot quicker than I did, there's nothing really else to do. And I really think they could have taken a page out of, say, Crash Bandicoot's book and added Bizarro levels where you pretty much invert everything about a level to replay it and it's completely backwards and reverse what you played the first time. Or even a Nightmare boss battle where you don't have those extra lives, and if you get hit one time, it's over. So with the Nightmare bosses, not only do you only have 1 life, but they do different attacks compared to the original versions. And then if you want to really stick it to the gamer, if you really want to make them work, what about time limit challenge levels? A majority of people will play the challenge levels. If they get through them, will never touch them again. But what about the ones that really want a platforming challenge? And if you can't beat the level at this time, you have to restart the level again and just try to get better and better and utilize all the skills and all the abilities that you have at your disposal to pull off the best time possible. Not a time trial, but a time limit. Also, it would have been nice maybe post-game, a new game plus to a certain extent, having the ability to play as the special bots like Nathan and Aloy and Kratos, those character stages. But you can utilize those characters in any stage. So you can have the axe and freeze opponents in the first stage if you wanted to. Or utilize those special bots in the Bizarro levels or reverse worlds. I also wish from a customization standpoint there were more options when it comes to the outfits. A majority of the outfits and even the skins are relatively underwhelming and don't necessarily attach themselves to some of the more known video game characters. It would have been cool to dress up as Solid Snake or Lara Croft or even Kiryu from the Like a Dragon or Yakuza franchise, as these are characters that are unveiled as bots throughout the game that you can discover and pick up and send to the crash site. From a technical aspect, Astro Bot is not only a gorgeous looking game, but it utilizes the DualSense speakers in marvelous ways to really give you an immersive feeling when playing through the various stages. And really, the DualSense controller is one of the stars of the show, as it is utilized with not only the haptic feedback triggers, but also the motion controls throughout various levels. You may have to tilt the controller left and right to guide the ball form of Astro across spikes and avoid lava, or even blow into the speaker so you can create a wind tunnel. Beyond a few graphical glitches and platforming problems that have always plagued 3D platformers, technically Astro Bot is a fantastic experience when it comes to performance and general aesthetics. I can't recommend Astro Bot enough. Astro Bot as it is a fantastic experience, one that feels like a throwback to the early days of the PlayStation while also celebrating 30 years of the brand itself. It's one of those type of games that while it's here, it will be celebrated. It will be heralded as one of the premium experiences associated with not only the PlayStation 5, but also the gaming generation that is associated with, in this case, the 9th generation. But there are things about it that could have made the player want to play more if they felt to do so, like bizarro reverse levels, different challenges, even better customization options. It's not a masterpiece, it's not a perfect game, and hopefully those things will be added to and improved upon going forward. If this is the type of game that you want, pick it up whenever you see fit. I say get it at full price to encourage not only the developers but also Sony, and making them understand that we do enjoy and want games like this, games like the recent Crash Bandicoot, games like the recent Ratchet and Clank. We want Spyro, we want Rayman, we want the old games in a new form, the old franchises, the old brands back again that gave us so much joy during the PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 eras. In the end, Astro Bot is as rewarding as making a crazed chameleon choke on his own tongue.